In today's video, I'm chatting a bit about my latest haul from Wool Warehouse, giving you some thoughts on that experience and letting you know what my kind of draft project plans are for the yarn that I bought today. Welcome back to my knitting channel. My name is Nadine and the birds are going wild. Oh my gosh, there's a whole bunch of rainbow lorikeets just outside. I wonder if you can hear them. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. This has got to be a good sign for the day. Where was I? My name's Nadine and you can find me at yourknittingbestie on Instagram, Ravelry and here on YouTube. On this channel, I chat about being an Australian knitter, in particular someone who lives in Brisbane. So I'm in a bit of a different setup today because it's Mother's Day. So we have got some plans lined up. We're seeing both mothers today, Michael's mother and my mother. So we don't have quite as much time to set up the usual filming backdrop. And I don't actually have my normal notes for this session, so it's just going to be a bit of a more casual chat about my yarn, which I'm excited about. So yeah, I hope you don't mind the setup. It's actually quite handy because I can kind of look up information as I need it. Anyway, and before we get going on today's video, I'd like to say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers, grandmothers, stepmothers, mothers-in-law, adopted mothers, all the mother figures who keep us all looked after and well. The difference you make in everyone's lives is quite incredible. So happy Mother's Day. I hope you've been spoiled today if you are in one of those roles. So first I'll quickly take you through the experience of using the Wool Warehouse website and putting in my first order through there. So I found their website super easy to use. I was able to put Australian dollars down as the currency, which means that I could more readily see how much I was spending as I was going, which was good. The range of yarn was far broader than what I'm used to seeing here, or perhaps just different to what I'm seeing here. So it was a whole bunch of different brands that I usually have a little bit more trouble getting my hands on here. So for example, there's a skein of yarn, which I'll pop up on screen, that my dad and my stepmum brought over from Canada. And they brought 2 skeins, and I was wondering if I could find another skein or 2 if I wanted to make a larger project. And I couldn't find it on Australian websites, but I did see it on Wool Warehouse, so I now know that that is an option for me. So yeah, really good range, I thought, and the shipping experience was really good. I can't exactly remember the dates right now. I'll pop them up on screen along with the cost of postage, but it was great. It arrived, I think, from memory within like a couple of weeks, and it was quite cheap as far as shipping or postage goes. Usually it wasn't that much more than what I would pay for shipping here in Australia. So I was kind of stoked on that, and I'm really looking forward to putting in some more orders in the future. And I'm not surprised because Wool Warehouse was a store that was suggested by some of you in the comments on some of my videos, and in particular on the that episode where I talked about my vest number 1, which I'm wearing now because I'm obsessed with it. And I made this in Drops Air, which I bought from an Australian yarn at a much higher cost than if I'd got it from Wool Warehouse, particularly because they have sales all the time. So I really recommend it for a bit of variety in your yarn diet. Such a gloomy day today, that's why I was so excited to see the rainbow lorikeets. They really added a bit of colour. Okay, so I'll zip it for the crinkling. This is the bag. It's a rather large order. Probably one of the largest orders that I've put in recently, because I think this yarn order should really keep me going for the next quarter at the very least. I think I'll get a whole bunch of projects out of this. So let me show you what's inside. How do I do this? That was chaos. Okay, let me get my ducks in a row here. Okie dokie. So, the first yarn that I bought, which is in a sweater quantity, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 skeins, and it is the Cascade 220 in the fingering weight, and the colour is olive oil. So I really was interested to try this one because I had seen that Rebecca from the Crayabeya had said that Cascade 220 was one of her desert island yarns. So it was on my list to try ever since then, and I did see a comment from someone saying that I was able to get it somewhere in Australia, but I thought since I was putting in this order that I would give it a crack and just kind of pop it onto the order so I can get my little hands on it quicker without having to pay shipping from a couple different places. So this colour I was really going back and forward between because in my mind the project that I had was the Lenu sweater. And that was that beautiful kind of saddle shoulder sweater with the textured panel down the middle, which looks kind of like cables but isn't cables, which we love. So I'm really keen to try that one. And I was going back and forth in color selection between something like this and a kind of lilac purple, kind of think muted version of this. And this is one of those kind of low stakes issues that I like thinking about. So I kind of sat on it for a couple days, had to think about what I would wear the items with. And this colour, I thought in my mind, and this is purely my preference, I thought this colour would go well with dark blue or black jeans, whereas I thought the lilac with the purple and the blue, for some reason in my head, those colours aren't as congruent. So that was what gave me the push to give this a go. So let me give you a little bit more information. I'll have to pop the unit price per 50 grams up on the screen because my little sheet here only has the aggregate price per yarn. So all up, the 5 skeins came out at £24.95. So there's that. Let me tell you more about the details. I've really hidden the details on the tag here. So it is 100% Peruvian Highland wool, 50 grams, 250 meters to the 50 grams, and the suggested gauge is 28 to 32 stitches on 2.25 to 3.25 millimeter needles. So love that. I don't know if I've ever used a yarn that was made in Peru before, so that's a first. But of course the Lenu sweater from memory was 1 fingering weight yarn or 4 ply and 1 lace weight, I think. I'll correct myself on screen if I'm remembering that wrong. But so I had to get kind of a fluffy strand to go with this yarn. And it is a little bit wild. So let me show you. This colour brings me so much joy whenever I look at it. It's just so bright. I feel like this is the tennis ball colour. The colour of a tennis ball, which you know what is all the rage right now because Zendaya is out on her Challenges media tour. Or maybe that's just finished, I'm not sure. But she's been wearing some incredible tennis-inspired outfits that have pops of this kind of colour or are completely this colour. So maybe I've accidentally jumped on a trend here. But anyway, so this is Cumulus by Fyberspates, and it is 74% baby Suri alpaca, which I don't think I've ever used before, and 26% mulberry silk. And I have to say, this is just gorgeously soft. This is so much softer than any of the mohairs that I've used. So I'm quite excited to try a bit of alpaca instead of mohair as my second strand in a project. What else should I tell you? Pop the colour up on screen. This one's also made in Peru. That's pretty cool. and it is, the gauge is 24 stitches to 40 rows on 3 to 5 millimeter needles. So very keen. And I bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again. So I hope I got the quantities right. I guess we'll see. And if I need a little bit more, then tragically, I might just have to put in another order. Okay, let me show you them together. Okay. I wonder how to best show you. Can you kind of see a little bit like that? So I'm hopeful that this colour, which I have to say, when I saw the little box of colour on the website, I didn't think it was this bright, which might have just been my kind of perception looking at the screen, or maybe the colours on my screen, my monitor, sorry, which I know changes how things look. But I did think it was a little bit more muted than this, but I'm kind of excited to see how it comes out in a little swatch, because I think this will just brighten up the olive oil Cascade 220 just a little bit, whereas the Cascade 220 will give it some depth. And I'm really keen because the core, like the core of the fluff, doesn't look like it's a super white core. So I don't think I'll have the same problem that I had with my August cardigan with that navy blue colour, where the mohair had that really white kind of core that stood out against the navy blue. I think this will just be the two colours melding together. So I'm so excited. But I'm having a little bit of a delay in my knitting because life is happening. We've got some renovations going on. We've got the whole wedding planning thing happening. Work is, work. So a little bit less spare time than I've usually had, but I'm really excited to cast on. And I do have to finish my baby blanket first because that little baby is imminent to arrive in the world. We must have something to wrap them in. Okay, so that is those ones. I should have popped the price on the screen, but... Oh, and I should say these are 25-gram balls. And the whole bunch of them came out at £36.45. Okay, I might pop these in the corner so that you can see them, hopefully. Like that. I actually put this order in quite a while ago, but I haven't got around to playing with it yet, because I've just been caught up on other things. So, very excited. Okay, alrighty, what next? Okay, we'll go with, yes, I know what we'll go with. So, as I'm sure the people who've watched my videos know, I'm on a bit of a sock kick this year. I'm really keen to get kind of much better at making socks and to find a good sock yarn that I like for my partner's dad's Christmas present on an ongoing yearly basis. So I've decided for my next pair, I'm going to make Michael a pair. And I'm very lucky because Michael is quite fashionable. I think he's very stylish. I think that's his mum's influence on him. She is also an extremely stylish lady. So I can be a little bit adventurous with my colour choices on certain items. So my partner is also a lawyer, so he works in one of the big firms down in the city. So he wears a suit into work every day. And here in Australia at least, and I'm sure it's probably a broader phenomenon, but guys who wear suits tend to wear fun socks. And then you get a little pop of colour at the ankle when they kind of sit down and cross their legs. And back when I was working in the same firm as Michael, I used to always keep an eye out for the fun socks that all of the guys would wear as kind of an indication of how fun they would be. And it never led me astray. So I think I can take a little bit of a risk with his socks. So let me show you what I got. I got 2 colours, so I could kind of do either a colour pattern or just have a contrast cuff, heel and toe. And these are the colours that I selected. Okay, so these are West Yorkshire, oh gosh. Okay, I'm phoning a friend on how to pronounce this.
West Yorkshire Spinners.
Many thanks. So it says that this sock yarn is reared, sheared and spun in Britain. This one is the signature 4-ply, perfect for socks it says. 75% wool, 25% nylon, and the tension is 28 stitches to 36 rows on 3.25 millimeters it says. And this is the colour Candyfloss, and this is the colour Nutmeg. And they are both, I believe, £8.49. So, depending on how I'm feeling about the colour, I might make this kind of nutmeg colour the main colour and then use the Candyfloss as the accent. I kind of love the idea of doing a colour work pattern down the body of the sock, but that would be quite a push for my for my sock knitting, where I'm very much still getting the hang of consistent tension on those teeny tiny needles. But challenges can always be a bit fun, I find. So maybe I will try that. I don't know. I'll have to have a think about it. But I do like these colours together. And if there's any left over, maybe I'll make myself a pair of socks in the opposite colour selection. So using whatever is left, I guess. But yeah, I really like them. So I'm keen for my next sock project, but I am still finishing off my engagement socks, so must do that first. Okay, here we go. Okay, so on to my last yarn selection, and this one I kind of tacked on at the end because why not? I've said before in my videos, I try really hard not to buy yarn that I don't have a project in mind for, and that's not for any kind of any real reason, to be honest, other than the fact that I find that I get a lot of excitement out of purchasing the yarn directly for a project. So if I just buy miscellaneous yarn, it tends to languish in my stash for ages. And it's kind of like when you're driving home from work and you want to get McDonald's even though you have food at home. I find that I usually want to go to the yarn shop even though I have yarn at home. So that's why I usually don't do this, but it's another drops yarn, which as I had trouble with this one, is a little bit difficult or expensive to source from Australian stores. So I thought I would just kind of pop it on to the end, and it was super affordable too as well. So I kind of thought, what's the harm? We can really talk ourselves into just about anything, can't we? Anyway, let me see if I can find a tidy one for you. They're all a little bit, I think they've got a little bit of friction in the mail, which is okay. But yeah, I tried some Drops Belle. So the reason I chose this Drops Belle yarn as the one to tack onto my order is because I went onto Ravelry and I looked up a couple different yarns in the yarn tab. And when you do that, you can go into pattern ideas, and it gives you a whole bunch of different options of what people have made using the yarn. So when I'm kind of looking to buy a yarn and I don't have a project in mind, that's what I tend to do to see what my options might be when I get around to using it. And the Drops Belle had a bunch of really cool patterns and really quite popular patterns as well. Actually, let me look it up quickly and then I'll tell you which ones caught my eye. I reckon I check Ravelry just about as much as I check my work email. Isn't that wild? Okay, here we go. So this one looks to be a really popular one, which is another reason why I thought it would be safe to try, because it can be a little bit of a risk buying yarn online when you haven't felt it yourself. So this one's a DK weight yarn, 50 grams per ball, suggested needle size 4 millimeters, and the fibers are 53% cotton, 33% manufactured fibers, including rayon and viscose, and 14% cellulose, being linen or flax. And you can machine wash this, which is fabulous for a kind of summer fiber. So we go into pattern ideas. And to give you an idea, gosh, it's really popular. This one has 13,500 projects using Drops Belle. That is incredible, and it is very affordable. How much did I pay for it? Drops Belle in the color off-white, and I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 7. Yes, I got 7. And all up, this cost me £9.80. Which really, you can see why I tacked it on. I was just like, well, that seems incredible. I'll find a use for it eventually. Okay, so let me look at the patterns here. Yeah, so the first one that came up was the Anker's summer shirt, which I made in, what's that called? Oh, the Lion brand one that's discontinued. I made it in that one, and I didn't love the fiber, even though it had a beautiful sheen to it. So I thought if I felt like remaking that project, I could use this for sure. Otherwise, there's the peacock tee. Oh, I've had my eye on that one for ages. I really love that feather and fan sort of pattern up at the yoke of the garment. The Tolster tee, which is another fantastic one, and one I know some of you have enjoyed making. Des chain, which I've seen the ladies from Skane Sisters make. They had a picture in their newsletter. Summer Ella Solo. That one's that lovely kind of leaf pattern at the top. Yeah, anyway, so I kind of had a look through those patterns and I realized that I totally loved all of them. But you know what? I was just thinking when I pulled this out just now, in my last video, which was the autumn kind of pattern roundup style inspo sort of video, I mentioned a layering piece called the Queen's Cami. And I wondered if maybe I could use this to make that project. Let me look up the details for that one. Okay, so that one is it's a fingering weight, whereas this is DK. 22 stitches to 30 rows for the Queen's Cami. What have we got here? We've got 21 stitches to 28 rows. You know, that's not far off. I wonder if I could play with the gauge a little bit and see if I could make it into that project. Maybe that would work. Maybe I can force it to work. I'll have to do up a little swatch and see how I like the fabric that is created. But anyway, yeah, so that is the last one that I got in my little medium to large sized haul from Wool Warehouse. And those are the plans that I have kind of in mind to use the yarn. So yeah, I think that's about it from me. Oh yeah, maybe I'll quickly show you my outfit that I'm wearing today for Mother's Day, because you got to get dressed up for the mothers. This was one that I put on and then walked out to Michael, being the more stylish of the two of us, and said, does this look cool or does this look weird? So I've got some kind of bright patterned pants on, which match in with my earrings here, my vest number 1, and then some billowy sleeves here. And I really wanted to wear this with some pink heels, but I don't know if I have the stamina to go shopping in heels anymore. That sounds like just a bunch of hurt feet. But anyway, so yeah, I think that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed this video, a little bit more casual, but I kind of really enjoy doing these more casual, completely unscripted videos because it feels more like having a chat with a friend. And I hope that when I get a little bit better at making videos and all the rest of it, maybe I can be a little bit more unscripted. some more of the time. And I don't know, maybe I can make this setup look a little bit nicer because, yeah, it's much more natural talking to my laptop. I think because it's kind of like a Zoom meeting, which is what I do for like 90% of my day at work. So maybe that's why this feels way more natural to me than when I look at my phone set up on like a tripod and it feels a bit unfamiliar. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think of this particular setup. Oh, and actually, I was thinking maybe I could do a Q&A video at some point. That was a suggestion in the comments at one time. And I thought that could be a bit of a fun episode. So please do let me know if you have questions for me to answer. That would be really cool. I'll leave them down below and I'll have a look at them. Yeah. So yeah, thanks very much for watching, guys. I appreciate it. I hope you've had a great day today. And if you've liked this video, please do give that a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet subscribed, it would be wonderful if you would consider doing so that we can hang out in the future. So thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.